All right, well, thank you very much. Again, it's a privilege to be here. My name is Todd McNeal. I'm the chief at Twaine Harte Fire Department, a small department up in Tuolumne County. That's near Yosemite for giving you some reference in the state of California georeferencing. My interest to be here is because, like many of you, I see this being the most tremendous advancement in the fire service and emergency services. And by no means is that the limitation of the power of this technology. In particular for me, though, I come from an area that is very, very at risk on a perpetual, continual basis for wildland-urban interface incidents. And so tied to this technology is this utilization and defense of our critical infrastructure, our communities, and what I just term loosely, because it could be anything for any individual, is a value at risk. And we've created this very complex problem in the wildland-urban interface, as everybody knows, but now we have to come up with complex solutions. And so I'm a huge fan of quotes, as many people have been so far in the presentations. And this is where I tie back to this quote by Dr. Einstein. We got to think outside the box at this point. We have created this complex problem, and we have not nearly enough time to go into that, how we got here. But we're here, and we have the opportunity, we have the responsibility, and we have the tools to make these positive changes. And really one of the biggest tools or effects of change that I see with this technology is the mitigation of some of the human factors involved in emergency response. And in particular, wildland, the stress reaction. I think everybody in this room, everybody that's watching or tuning in, would agree that these two individuals in this slide are suffering from a stress reaction at this moment in time. And what does stress do to the human brain and to the human mind? It starts to compromise the cognitive function. And with the implementation of the unmanned aircraft systems, the ability to instantaneously process data, convert that information to intelligence, to have actionable intelligence for incident commanders, we can avoid what I call the surprise. I am going to be shocked when I see, for example, in this case, fire behavior of that intensity, but I shouldn't be surprised that the event occurred. And how do I avoid that surprise? I avoid that through preloading information. I am instantaneously combating the stress reaction. What we know about the human brain and stress is it begins to load shed. And that means it tends to focus in onto the primary threat and loses the situational awareness of the multitude of threats that are still there. And that's just an adaptation. I see this springboard of advancement that is unmanned aircraft and the ability to acquire data, process data in real time, and disseminate as one of the biggest ways to combat this stress reaction. We are, in essence, preloading. We are removing the surprise. The shock will never be removed because it's shocking when you see fire behavior. But that ability to process, gather, process, and then act on, that is the key, right? Information is just information until such time as we can apply context and filter. And once that is done, incident management organizations, event coordinators, anybody can now act on that intelligence. And that is the power of what we're talking about. Again, small rural community, biggest threat to us, wildland-urban interface. I am in the process, one of my reasons for attendance here is to start a program in our county. And also look at it from integrating it into the federal emergency management response, right? The incident management team organizations that deploy across our nation for all risk environments. I see that as a huge advancement potential for this technology, and that is key. So coming here and learning from everybody is the same as, that everyone else, right, in the room is doing. I'm not here to say drones are the next best thing, but if I think about it, there are very few times in one's career that you are a part of or experience at a same point in time a revolutionary changing. Think about the portable radio, for example, or SCBAs, right? These are massive changes to our provision of services to the constituents as well as personal safety to the crews. And that's what I really want our focus to be on. I do see an obstacle to that adoption from the federal management side is this conflicted airspace, of which there was just a great presentation on that technology that is being developed. I do believe, though, with the right embracement, the right knowledge, and the right execution in that as we've discussed, Director Carpenter, the proof of concept, I think that visualization is key for the adoption of this at the federal level. I can't overstress the idea of actionable intelligence for incident commanders. If we don't take ourselves from the illusion of and to the acquisition and actionable items from just information to intelligence, we are running at a deficit, right? The tools are available to us and we need to utilize them. And this unmanned aircraft data acquisition, processing, and real-time streaming component, I believe, really strikes at this need in incident management organization and not just emergency events, but planned needs as well. So my brief time here in front of everyone is to be that advocate of understanding how the human mind reacts to stress and how we can directly combat that with this type of technology and share with everybody this advocacy to take home back to their fledgling organizations of combating that stress reaction.
I do have one question for you,
Sure.
Chief. Do you guys have any personal experiences with drones or the technology that you'd like to share with us that in your department that you guys have been using?
Not directly at the fire department on a daily basis, but the interaction with drones, as everybody knows, on the large-scale incident management is this, as I spoke, conflicted airspace management stuff of hobbyists coming in, and my background being in the wildland and in aviation as well, talking directly to the aircraft pilots, the manned aircraft, the helicopter pilots, of their frustration of this and how do we implement, right? Everybody understands in the aviation world with manned aircraft what the temporary TFR, temporary flight restriction concept is, and are most cases very respectful of that. What we need, as mentioned in the last presentation in the big room, is that geofence concept to protect those controlled airspaces over incidents from the drones. And so I've been on personal, incidences on federal lands where that has impacted us. Just starting in Twaine Harte to get a daily response program going.
One of the real opportunities in the wildland area that we ought to explore is that there is a natural deconfliction that takes place at sunset. Typically aerial operations, manned aerial operations, stop at sunset because of lack of visibility due to terrain and smoke, etc. And that's an ideal environment to operate the drones in. And it's particularly helpful to an incident commander because in many cases, not in all cases, fires lie down at night. And one of the things the incident commander would like to be able to do is to get good mapping on that fire in two respects. One, where the fire is, where the perimeter is at that particular point in time, but also what the fuel loads are just in front of the perimeter. And we have the technology to acquire that data today. And we just need to understand that nature's given us a deconfliction by daylight and nighttime. And nighttime belongs to the drones. And we ought to take advantage of that.
That's correct. And the idea of bringing that data from information to intelligence in real time, as you know, and a lot of us in experience in wildland, we're almost operating in 8 to 12 hours of past data when we talk about IR perimeters and that kind of stuff. And so we can change that game, especially to make those critical decisions in those targets of opportunity as they present themselves, given weather parameters, given those minimized fuel loading, where we can take those actions, those suppression actions, and make a big impact.
Right on. Thank you, Chief. I'm going to have to stop you there.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.